Mandy merely wanted to rescue a poor soul caught in the December blizzard by inviting him into her home. As night fell, she heard a loud noise in her cabin. After phoning the police, she left her room without locking her door. Her blood curdled. Mindy Harris Sheeran, a 27-year-old from Alaska, was average. She was known as the recluse botany graduate student who hardly left her hut unless she had to. Mindy was no recluse. A native of Miami, Florida, she just wasn't used to the frigid Alaskan weather that was fierce in December. That night taught her to fear more than the weather. Mindy went to Alaska to study native North American plants. She wanted to get data from the source for her paper. The environment affected her after 5 months in the state. She initially liked the blizzards and cold. After missing home for months, everything seemed to irritate her. Before meeting him, she saw the older man cross the street while drinking hot cocoa on her porch and reading the paper. Snow had piled up all day. He persevered, seemingly lost in thought. Mindy did something she'd never done in Alaska because the day's weather report predicted a blizzard. Mindy greeted the man with a mug. She invited him in, saying he shouldn't be out in the bad weather. Klaus, like the region, was new. Although his interactions with Mindy would go well through the evening, what would happen later that night would be enough to induce nightmares for years. Mindy wanted Klaus to shelter from the blizzard for the evening. She told him to settle in after nightfall, and the storm continued. She prepared a couch for Klaus since her cabin only had one bedroom. If you like my videos, don't forget to like or subscribe. Thanks in advance. After dinner, Klaus recounted his military career and Mindy discussed her research. Though Mindy went to bed, her night was just beginning. Mindy woke up after midnight to a loud bang. She jumped up, clutching her covers. Her laptop showed her security cameras. She never imagined using them. She watched them and prayed. She turned her head as the front door camera moved. Mindy fumbled with the buttons and rewound, seeing an elderly man rush past the porch. Klaus? Mindy wondered. Her heartbeat increased. After that, she grabbed her baseball bat. Klaus stopped and stared into the camera again. Next, he ran to Mindy's room. Mindy cried. She locked her door and called the police without knowing what was happening. Was her former benefactor trying to hurt her? Mindy dialed 911. Klaus yelled from the door while she was explaining everything to the telecommunicator. Mindy had never heard a more agonizing scream. She knew the man was hurt. He crawled through the living room on her camera. He fled. Mindy quietly left her room. She reached her living room through her cabin's dark corridor. She only found Klaus's open front door and the house's rowdy winds. Mindy tightened her bat, confused. She heard it just before taking another step. The deep growl crippled Mindy. As a dark figure snarled through the open door, she cried. Mindy froze when she saw her living room. It had white fur, huge fangs, and claws as long as her kitchen knives. It roared, and she knew she would never see daylight again. Polar bear. Mindy's veins flash froze and her stomach froze with terror. Klaus returned and sprayed the bear's snout with an orange canister. The beast roared and fled the cabin. Klaus sprayed and locked the door. But the night continued. Klaus sprayed and locked the kitchen door. Mindy recovered before realizing the man had a shoulder gash. She ran for her first aid kit and sat to help him. She watched polar bear films and documentaries. She never expected to be attacked. As she bandaged Klaus, he explained everything. Klaus said he worked for Alaska's Wildlife Service. The blizzard forced him to stop tracking a polar bear the locals had reported. The same beast sneaked into Mindy's kitchen and woke him up. Before it nearly killed him, he lured it outside. The police arrived and caught the bear, but Mindy would never forget the incident. She needed to familiarize herself with the Alaskan wilderness before returning. Mindy researched local bears extensively. Her biology studies had never led her here. Time changed. She became scared and calm as she discovered more. Her findings were fascinating and terrifying. When she understood each bear species, she relaxed. North America has 3 of 8 bear species. These are soft and thick. When agitated, they will tear you apart in seconds. Mindy's polar bear threw down without being provoked. Polar bears live in the Arctic but sometimes travel south to Alaska. Global warming destroys their habitats, reducing their numbers. As temperatures rise, northern ice caps melt, displacing bears. Their number is currently between 20 and 31,000 worldwide, a genuine far cry from how many they were before the Industrial Revolution and the onset of global warming. Most polar bears are migrating south to avoid rising ocean levels. Mindy and Klaus found one in the house as expected. Mindy's community knows how to handle black and brown bears, the other 2 North American native bear species. Never play dead for black bears. They'll win for free. Hide. Fight instead. Kick and punch the animal's face and muzzle. Brown bears differ. Grizzlies, brown bears, are larger than black and polar bears. They are fast climbers and swimmers despite their size. To defeat such a massive fiend with claws that can easily transport your insides to your outsides, do nothing. Play dead, your life depends on it. Running from brown bears is dangerous. They love chasing and won't stop until they get you. Playing dead with your backpack and hands on your neck will stop it. Another polar bear scare occurred a few miles south of Mindy's. This one involved a grizzly and an unfortunate mountain biker. Mountain bikers average 10 miles per hour. Motivated grizzlies can run 5 times faster. This cyclist was a tourist who wanted to see the forest before breakfast. The woods discovery kept him up at night. Before racing for his life in that forest, Pierre had been cycling for over a decade. He loved cross-country biking. However, he and his friends brought mountain bikes to explore Alaska's wilderness. Pierre's incident morning was different. Most of his friends wanted to bike after breakfast. Since Pierre usually rode before breakfast, he said goodbye and left. He didn't know what the green Alaskan forest held. Pierre stopped to admire the green hills 30 minutes into his ride. He removed his helmet and pedaled. Fresh air and a rising sun. Pierre closed his eyes to enjoy the calm. But what he heard made him jump back on his bike. The ground-shaking row gripped Pierre like never before. He immediately got back on his bike and pedaled. Pierre flew back to where he stopped without thinking. As he pedaled, he saw a huge brown bear approaching. Knowing how fast brown bears were, the big ball of fuzz and ferocity would catch him. He raced down the dirt path, leaning forward on his bike and tightening his grip. The bear closed in on him. Even worse happened. Pierre encountered a large tree trunk. He couldn't jump over it after one look. Stopping would let the bear have him. Pierre braked before the felled tree, hoping to get back on his bike. Too late. The bear had him. As it pounced, a gunshot startled it. Pierre followed the gunshot. More gunshots stopped the bear. The hunters who saved Pierre brought him home unharmed. He should have laid down and pretended to be dead. Thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next video.